Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of death and birth in this material world. That's pretty much the bottom line, right? In the cycle, birth and death.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always wondered like what is so I think the idea is if you okay, so basically what it just said is that if you don't have faith, you won't leave the cycle of birth and death.
In the material.
Hmm. You know, they also say a lot, they mention a lot like mustard seeds. That's like another measurement of faith that they use a lot. Because it's like, I mean, there is like, I think there's like a bigger meaning to it, but I think the meaning is kind of like I think in the Bible it says if if Kanye has the faith of a mustard seed,
Yeah,
you'll be
they
able to move mountains.
definitely talk about that in the Bible, brother. Just yeah, I've heard that. This is different though. This isn't the Bible. There's no bullshit references like mustard seed. I get it. It's supposed to say like, have as little faith as a mustard seed, and that's enough, right? Or like that's
That's all you
I don't know.
need to
Yeah,
leave the cycle of birth and death.
yeah.
Dude, that's
Here it's
so
saying
interesting.
text 20 says those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Dude,
Wow.
that really makes sense because when you like the material world or whatever that means, pretty much everything, right, that we enjoy besides spirituality and stuff like dancing and stuff. But for example, like when I'm playing FIFA or when I'm, you know, chilling and consuming some media or like eating food, like there's a worship that's going on there because in that moment, I feel like there's nothing else I could ever want from this life. Like there's something there that's so perfect.
Oh, yeah, like the whole concept of um the potter and the pot, as in there is when someone is doing something, it's like there is the action and that's it. It's like you become one with the flame. You become one with what you're doing. And yeah, I think you can basically implement that into like every aspect of your life to the point where you can put that into negative things and you can grow from negative things. But I think that's very dangerous. That's a dangerous path to go down because then you start doing justifying bad things with spiritual bypass because you're like, oh no, it's okay. I can rob the store. It's my work. I'm one with robbing it, which is true, maybe true. You know, they say that just because you get enlightened doesn't mean you're not the same person you were before. You still do all the same things, but there's a quality to it,
Mm.
which is interesting because there is the quality of awakening, which feels like a quality. And then there's the idea of leaving this whole realm as the wheel of birth and death. And maybe that could be interpreted as kind of like a metaphor, dude, as a mental kind of prison, a mental circle that you're constantly in. Like the human animal realm exists, but you don't have to be attached to it. You know, maybe you can go back to but then you die. So you do leave this realm, so it could be literal, you know?
There's so much of that for me, like that like mental circle, like you say, because you want to leave, right? But what part of you wants to leave? Is it the part that's like trying to get enlightened and trying to, better himself? Or is it something real and something that's not you? So that's just like, and when it feels like it isn't me, there is some discomfort there, dude. Like whenever I have very impersonal, like detached emotions from my thoughts or like something like bad will happen and then I don't necessarily feel the initial anger or something, it feels wrong. dude. It feels like, why am I not defending my ego? Like, because it feels so normal. But
Yeah,
anytime it's uncomfortable too, which is annoying.
yeah,
Very uncomfortable.
yeah. And actually, the Tibetan Buddhist wheel of life and death in the center. Recently I've been studying this because the Buddhist master David Nichtern finally gave me a date to be on my
When
podcast Tuesday. So tune in for that, guys. Yes, W in the chat, please. And
I'm just
he
a I'm buffer episode. Just kidding.
a filler.
Yeah.
But he actually has a book that is called Awakening from the Daydream. And the the picture is a modern version of the Buddhist wheel of life and death. And in the very center, there's a pig, a chicken, and a snake. And these three represent the three aspects that are always going on in your mind, which I think the snake represents aggression. I think the chicken represents passion, and the pig represents ignorance. And so, or ignoring actually, because
Mhm.
it's a present thing. It's not ignorance. You're ignoring. And so basically at all times you're experiencing, as long as you're in this realm, a combination of these three emotion or qualities that basically bleed into every other aspects of life.
You said that was to the Tibetan Book of the Dead?
That's the Buddhist wheel of
Mm.
life and death in the very center. If you see,
Dude, I've heard similar stuff, dude, for sure. Like to sort of separate them into those three, like passion, ignorance, and aggression.
yeah,
Like that really that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, right.
It feels a little too almost simple, but then you think about it and you're like, well, kind of not though. Like when do I feel anything but one of those three things under, some certain context? They're all pretty much the same.
Yeah. And I think maybe the idea is, I'm not too sure on this, but I will ask these questions for David. These are great questions for David. But maybe the idea is that when you die, your soul goes through the bardos, which are these states of in between, which are actually the same ones that um, Ram Dass and Timothy Leary wrote about in their book Psychedelic Experience, which was a direct translation from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And um, they compare those in between stages as the moment where it's going to decide your reincarnation, which is really interesting to me. Gandhi said that your message is your life. And I love that. You can say whatever you want, but it's what you do with your life that really gives off the message. And I think the same thing will happen when you die. You can, and while you're here, you can say you're as spiritual as you want, you're as happy as you want, you're as grounded as you want. But when you have no body, that's a different that's a different story. Now you're like, wait, what do you mean I can survive without a body? That is the question that a lot of people aren't ready for.
Hmm. That's that's so true because because like having a body is like some sort of in a way it goes back and forth between being a burden and being some huge relief. And like the whole goal is for it to
Yeah.
be a relief that you're more. But when you feel like you're more, at least in my personal experience, like the moments where I felt like I'm more, eh, I mean, it's like for a split second, like it's like a couple seconds, and then I'm like just back in the body and then like some realization. But before the realization, it feels like you're just like swimming in infinite like waters, infinite ocean,
Right.
you know? Because
Yeah.
if this isn't real, basically the question is like, if this isn't real, something is, something else is, and we don't really know
Something
what that
is
is.
real.
Yeah, like nobody knows what that is, and that's the whole point. That like, that's the part. That's the whole fun of it.
Yeah. Right, like trying to decide what is real. And not only what is real, but maybe also like who am I and where am I? And when you start asking these type of questions, I think you start finding answers, I think.
Mm.
And all over, I feel like the universe starts kind of answering these types of questions. But you have to ask them. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think you can answer them with words, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Answer the type of question of the nature of reality. But
Do you think you can answer them with actions?
I think, yeah, I think there's an internal intuitive part of yourself that already knows the answer, and you have amnesia and you forget, and there's very simple stimulus in your reality. Like there's this one monk who uh experienced enlightenment by like looking at like like a raindrop hit like a puddle and it just like hit him like, oh my God. Or like this other super huge yogi who just was this American who was just sitting in his office one day in the floor. This, I think he was a teenager. And out of nowhere, he just got enlightened. Like just like that. Like nothing happened, but it happened. You know what I mean? He was just like, oh, he gets it. And
Who
shoot, I don't, I don't remember the name.
was it? You?
Yeah. I was laying in my shower actually.
Dude, let me read something from the book. It said, I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like three modes, like passion, ignorance, and aggression. Because it says, text 17, the intricacies of action are very hard to understand.
Ooh.
Therefore one should know what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
Ooh. Oh, I
Feels like
love that.
feels like I'm going around sometimes, in this material world, in this game, whatever you want to call it. And it feels like, dude, I totally know what inaction and forbidden action are, but proper action,
Ooh.
that's a mystery to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
right.
maybe
And
there's an explanation, but I'll read it after. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say that in a lot of holy books, there's the instruction, or like Maharaji Inkroli Baba Ramdas's guru, my guru, said that like when Ramdas went to India and met his guru, the first thing that he told him was, "Don't tell anybody about me when you go back to America. Don't tell anybody about me." And what's the first thing that Ramdas did?
He told
He
everyone.
he wrote a book called Be Here Now, and it became like the most popular spiritual book in the world. I mean, and maybe in the West, um, he didn't listen to him, but that was the instruction. And in a lot of the instructions, there is the um idea to not talk about this and to stay away from it. And I find that so interesting, bro. Like to try to avoid talking about spirituality and death and all of these things. Um, I find that so interesting. Like, why shouldn't we talk about these things? I think Ramdas was asking the same question. Like, that's the reason why he quit Harvard. I mean, or they fired him because he wasn't teaching the curriculum that they wanted him to teach. He was like, I don't agree with it, and I'm gonna do my own thing, which is different when Harvard is telling you and when your guru Neem Karoli Baba is telling you. But there's that idea, which I find very interesting. But then there's also the idea that the person is not even going to be able to understand that. Like a person can only do as much um as they already have, you know? Like you can say something to someone like the answer to the riddle, but unless they experience it for themselves, you're just like talking to a wall, basically. That's I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think that what we are doing right now is comparing maps and perspectives I think that's helpful, man, for every stage of the path. Um, but also inaction. That's another huge one. I talked about that a lot with Dr. Jeremy Hall. We talked about what happens when or in the Bhagavad Gita is a perfect example for that. Um, uh, Arjuna doesn't want to fight. He says, I don't want to fight. Inaction. I want to leave. That's,
Hmm.
I don't want to fight my brothers and family. Are you kidding me? That's evil. But then
Yeah.
Krishna said, no, that's your duty in this reincarnation, and you need to
Hmm.
do it, even though inaction feels good. But then there's also times when inaction is good because I think you can mess up um someone's understanding of things, maybe.
Yeah, man. I mean, this here, even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. So basically, it's saying that like to act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of someone in a, like a discipline, a disciple of Krishna, pretty much. But in terms of like our own, lives, it says here otherwise, even the most intelligent men like us, will be bewildered regarding the standards actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction to the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. And actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord Himself. Out of causeless mercy to His devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence.
Wow. Man, I love the
So,
Bhagavad Gita.
yeah, whatever you think.
Wait, I can't hear you. I think your iPhone disconnected. No.
Get back, get back, get back.
Yes, that's perfect. Perfect. I hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good. But yeah,
Basically, I was
dude.
just saying,
Go ahead.
whatever you think the action is, think again, but don't think too
Yes.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tough.
if you renounce the fruit of your action to Krishna, then everything becomes an act of devotion. And you can uh you can offer all of your actions to God, and not as like a spiritual bypass, some type of way of like oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for God and it doesn't matter what I do. But I do think that um it could be interpreted as um don't attach yourself to actions because you're always going to be in this realm of making decisions. But the point of the game is not to make the right decision, but to make a decision. And whenever you stop
Mhm.
yourself from like selfishly thinking that you're completely in control, that you're making every decision, that's
Mhm.
tricky, man. That's a tricky place to be in, to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this my way and I'm gonna try. Like, it's so funny how the universe tells you every time you're trying to do something, it's like, nope. Or like whenever you're trying to find something, you know what I mean? It's like the
Mhm.
most stupid thing. But whenever you're like, okay, it's fine. You win, universe. I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna find my keys. Boom, puts them right in front of you. You find them. You get the thing that you want when you stop fighting for it. That's another rule of the universe.
Yeah.
The opposite law.
So, what are your thoughts on the law of attraction?
Um, I think the law of attraction is very simple. I think that everything that you receive are things that you've pushed out into the world. So, for example, the law is very simple. If you wish something onto someone else and they don't wish that thing on to themselves, then that thing is going to go off to you. So, if it's a good thing, like let's say I wish for you to be super rich, like, oh God, please make Nick super rich, blah, blah, blah. I'm praying for you. And then you don't want to be rich. You're like, I want to be poor. Then that energy comes back to me and I get rich. But if I
Mm.
say, man, I hate Nick, I hope he gets in a car accident, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, man, I love my life. I don't want to get in a car accident. Then that energy of negativity is going to come back to me as well. All of that comes back to you in the end. It's a full circle, no matter if it's good or bad. So
Mm.
might as well just wish good things onto everybody because everything's going to come back to you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a good like state of mind to be in, I guess. Like not really wishing, harm on anyone.
Because it's
Like it's
energies, man. I mean, the way I also see it is like hate. You go to like all these protests and people are screaming, peace. We want peace. We want fucking peace right fucking now. And they don't realize that the nature of their energy is hate. As much as what they're saying, it doesn't matter what you say. An interaction that you have with another human being has nothing to do with words, bodies, but has everything to do with energy.
mm.
Yeah.
Dude, so that means texting is some bullshit, you
That's
know?
very interesting. Like how, yeah, holy shit. Texting is interesting because you're like still interpreting someone else's energy, but it's through a new medium.
Dude, I kind of hate text. Like, I hate that part of it. Like, texting obviously is cool. Like, I text, but
Yeah.
it's just almost like, how can you be yourself over text, you know?
I mean,
You gotta give up.
if you can not be yourself, that's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair point. You're always
Yep.
yourself, but
Try to
how
not be
how
yourself.
how much control do you have over that? That's my point.
Right. You get the illusion of control. Like, oh, I finally have this space that I
I
don't
can say
have.
whatever I want,
Yeah,
and then you just like this
I,
dumb shit.
I can type it into ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, you can just get ChatGPT to respond to
Oh
everyone for
my
you.
God, bro. They're doing the narrow chips, bro. And I think it's just a
That'll
matter of
happen.
time before
That's gonna
ChatGPT
happen.
is in the narrow chip, bro. We got
Neuralink,
the Meta glasses already with the AI inside that you can just talk to it and
Vision Pro.
yeah, right? Like all of these things that we think
Fuck.
are it's like an illusion. It's like how many pairs of goggles can we put on before we realize that we are always going to be the same? This quality of being human is unescapable. No matter where you are, no matter whether you're texting or on a phone call, you're still dealing with those aspects of being human. And I love silence. Ramdas would also, man, just everything I say from now on, just know that Ramdas said it. I'm not gonna say Ramdas said, but
I know, bro.
he did say that we meet in the silence. That's where real conversations happen, in between the words, in the silence. Like the words are what we use to kind of pull out of time and space, um,
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
don't want, so that the other person can understand what we want with the silence.
Exactly, dude. Wow. That's something that I truly, truly agree with, dude. Like in the moments of uh out of body experience that I've had with you, bro, like you know what I'm talking about. Like in those moments, the words were the only thing tethering me to myself, dude.
Oh,
Like the words were the only thing that were keeping me
yeah.
somewhat able to be like, I'm Nick, you're Eric. Like, because, bro, when you're not saying anything and you're just looking at each other or just like looking around, who's to say that whatever, situation we just had isn't is the same. Like, bro, like the words are the only thing that keeps that gives like some sort of continuity to like it makes it linear, you know?
I think it gives it an intention. You're like, okay, I want to
Yeah.
change the world. And it's like you could
Yeah.
say something, but you could be quietly about it, and that's probably not going to do anything. So it's not only like words, but there also needs to be that intention of like, hey,
Yeah.
listen to me. I want to have a conversation. These are not
I
just,
want to say this.
yeah,
Yeah.
these aren't just little words that I'm pulling out of my monkey mouth. These are actually thoughts and energies that
Feelings and yeah.
that's
Yeah,
so
man.
fascinating, man.
It's fucking humbling as shit when you realize everything you're saying is like kind of just some like need or some attachment that you have like coming out and like manifesting itself. And
Right.
not that that's a bad thing though, because I felt like in the beginning or whatever, I have felt like almost like a shame about it because it's like, why do I want to change? Why can't I just be enlightened and sit here for 100 days? Like obviously I'm not there, and that's good and that's fine because of, like the fact that I can even acknowledge that I want to say things is a good thing, bro. Because you know, uh, I mean, it's hard to be like a motor mouth when you're in that state of mind, but even just like saying things, can really bring you out of that experience. Even if
Interesting,
you feel
dude.
like it's oh, play this song. Like for me, bro, it was like, oh, play this song. Like, oh,
Uh,
let's,
okay, much better. There we go. Everything should still be saved from our last conversation. Man, that was stressful. Holy shit. What a modern world problem, dude. Wi-Fi, an invisible force field. Um, what we were talking about was how words bring us back into the moment whenever we feel like we are leaving the realm. But dude, that's interesting. Like, isn't the goal to essentially leave the realm of birth and rebirth and death? Like, it's so interesting how part of us always wants to come back. And I don't think that's because of some accident that, oh, we are trapped in here. We can't even leave. Sure, there's a million ways to look at it, but I love to think of it
we choose to come back.
like we choose to come back. It's so beautiful. And you know what this brings me to? You were right when you were cutting out, you were talking about telling me, play this song, play that song, let's do
Mhm.
this. And that brought me to the idea of wanting to talk about your posters, dude. Because, oh my goodness, dude. Posters have such a way of art, like it's another medium to bring you back into this world. Very strong one, dude. I love posters.
Dude,
I love
honestly,
your
that's
posters, dude.
oh, thank you, man.
How
Thank
do
you.
you
And
choose your posters, bro?
dude, there's some good sites out there like allposters.com. They have good prices. They'll do like buy 35 or dollars or more and you get free shipping. So like there's some that are like $10 literally, and so you can get four and then free shipping.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know, man. I move them around a lot. Like
You do, bro. I find that so funny. I like I
it's
when
kind of
I
like every time I feel so like, neurotic or whatever, but
it's
whatever.
interesting. I never switch mine around. Like I do, but I hate doing it, bro. I'm like, fuck. Like so
Yeah,
much
I know.
work.
It is. And to me, it's worth it. I don't know.
Dude, talking about all of these beautiful earthly experiences. By the way, can we just take a moment to realize how precious the human reincarnation is?
I was gonna say that earlier, dude. Like when we were talking about how we choose to come back, like
Yeah.
it's also a blessing and a privilege that we even ever got to come back as humans because like what the fuck? Like this is this is insane.
Looking at your posters, I can't help but think about our concert at Tyler the Creator, bro. And what a magical experience that was. And if you were to play us into the realm, okay, let's see. People tend to think that like humans are a low level earthly reincarnation because there's gods and you could be a god and all of this shit. But if we were all capable of doing anything, would we still have gone to see Tyler perform a concert? You know?
Yeah, it's the moment with
Every decision, I doubt that.
I think your microphone is still on your computer. If you could change it, please.
it. Hello?
Yeah, way better.
It's on my phone now?
Yeah,
You sure?
I think. It sounds better. Anyways, yeah, so you think that maybe as a god you would put yourself in a Tyler the Creator concert?
You said what?
If you were a god, you would still put yourself in the Tyler the front row, Tyler the Creator concert?
Dude, hell yeah,
Maybe that's
bro.
what we did, bro. Maybe that's what we right now. We're like, hey, let's
I swear to God, there was no one enjoying themselves more at that concert. Like,
dude, yeah.
not that
That
it's a
was
competition,
strange.
but like, there wouldn't have been one if it was.
Yeah, and seeing Vince Staples, bro.
And Kelly Uchis,
Kelly
Tizo
Uchis, Tizo
touchdown, dude.
touchdown.
Tizo picked up huge now. Like, what a
That and
con.
in the moment when I was watching it, I was like, I only really appreciated Kelly Uchis and Tizo touchdown, but in a different way. Like Tizo touchdown, I enjoyed because I had no expectation, dude, and it was very musical. Very he sings a lot, and I was expecting
Yeah.
him to rap like most of Tyler's features and stuff, but he sang and I loved it. I fell in love with the dude. And like I remember going back home from El Paso and just listening to Tizo Touchdown, bro, on repeat. And same thing happened with Vince Staples, but it happened after I started like I didn't appreciate Vince's concert as much, dude. I don't know about you. And I
It was low energy, I think, a little, like, not in a bad way, but just like he knew he was opening up maybe, so he wasn't like fully hyped.
oh yeah,
And a lot of people didn't know his songs, I think.
exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, the ones I knew, obviously, I was singing, and I felt lucky to see him because he's also a huge ass artist.
Bro,
He got some show.
talking about huge as God, I really want to say this real quick because I wanted to share this with you either way before I forget. Did you know that David Nichtern was in a band when he was younger with Jerry Garcia?
No, what?
Yeah, and his meditation teacher was Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche.
Who?
Like,
Gary?
no, David's teacher.
Oh,
Like one of the greatest modern Western teachers ever. And I just think like, holy shit, imagine like growing up in a band with like what else could you want? Like it makes sense he's a Buddhist master, bro. He just experienced everything in a humanly desire like when he was younger and he was like, okay, time to move on to bigger things.
hmm.
And plus he had a really good teacher, the best. Who David Duncan's teacher, which I learned most of my stuff through. And this is a full circle back to Vince because of a lot of the stuff that I've kind of learned as well from Mac Miller and learning more about Vince through kind of Mac and his new show that kind of came out. Did you finish it, by the way? What did
Yeah,
you
it's super
think?
good.
It was super good. Yeah. Like,
It was very bingeable. Like I wanted to just keep watching.
yeah. I honestly, I don't know how I felt about the ending, honestly, a little bit.
But it's not the ending.
Oh, okay, good.
Like there has to be more, right? It was like five episodes
That's how
long.
it feels.
Then
Okay, so for everybody who doesn't know, this is my guest, the one, the only, the powerful, the incredible Nicholas Overturf. My good friend, my pal is here. He is joining me doing the great honors. This is such a late intro, but here we are. This man is a UT Austin student. He is a very special man, overall, an amazing person, one of my best friends. He has so many posters. This guy is the man. He is amazing. I love this guy. Nick Overturf, everybody.
thank you. What an intro.
For sure, pal.
Amateur DJ.
Amateur DJ. Dude, I want to be a DJ so bad, bro.
Radio DJ.
Radio
What type,
DJ.
what
Yeah.
type of DJ are you talking about?
Honestly, man, I love when you mix songs together, bro, and you
Oh,
make
like a
like
really like a DJ DJ.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know people in KVRX who are those type of DJs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have a radio show that is at UT Austin. Super cool show. What is it called again? High Vibrations? Yeah?
Yep.
Really interesting name, bro.
Thank you. I like the name. It's not necessarily a reference to any sort of high that you might get from any substance, but you can think of it that way too, you know.
If I can just say one thing real quick. The idea that highs have to come from substances is so like weird to me. You know, like I was playing the drums because I have a drum set here and I wanted to take advantage of the fact that I could play it. And dude, I feel like I was tripping when I left the drum set. Like maybe I need to eat more iron or something, but bro, holy shit. Like it makes so much sense why people get addicted to like music and stuff and like playing instruments and people become like famous musicians and shit, bro, because it feels like you're high, bro. Runner's
Yeah.
high, man. I mean, coffee gives you high. Literally, we're in a fucking high machine. We're just like, we're just a little guy in a little fucking chair sitting, injecting himself with all kinds of chemicals and experiencing them with it's the senses.
Different stimuli giving us the same thing. You know,
Yeah.
like it's like we're pressing all these buttons out here trying to just get the juices in our head again.
Right, dude. And there's the idea that
But
before death, it was also like this. Like maybe the only thing that is changing is the stimuli. Even after death, post death, out of the birth and death cycle, it's all just different stimuli, but you're getting the same effect always. And that's kind of why it feels so natural to be here because we've always been here. But there's a way to kind of clear yourself of all stimuli, maybe. Where to the point where even yourself is a stimuli. So you clear yourself of the self. So you are just feeling, you are just awareness. That's an interesting space to be in.
yeah, that's the I say that I want to say that that's the goal, you know. Like I
Yeah,
feel like that's the goal, but
100%.
at the same time, it's easy to say that, you know. It's so easy to say that, and then in the
It's easy to
moment,
do too.
it's what?
It's really easy to do too. Well, actually,
That's
I don't
that's
know.
one opinion.
There's
I
like
personally don't think it's that easy to be enlightened, but I mean, go ahead, bro.
three things I got to say to you, bro.
Yeah.
Three things I have to say to that. The first one is the quality of enlightenment, right? Are we talking about a quality that you kind of go into by holding your identity? You hold on to the sense of the self, or maybe not the self, but you hold on to something and you just start deleting senses of identification and levels of self. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna start with maybe external objects. I am not this computer. And then maybe you continue with body parts or like I'm not my hair, I'm not my farts, I'm not my feet,
Oh,
my tongue, my
okay.
spit. You're not your spit, you're not your thoughts, you're not this thought that I'm saying right now. You're not until you get
What's
to
the
the point where you're
next?
what you're just sitting with the absolute levelness of absolute awareness that you try to get to awareness of the awareness. That's one type of state that you could be in. The other one is moving from the identification with the mind and thoughts to identification with the heart, which could be maybe the same thing, but that is really easy to do. That's what humans overcomplicate, I think. The idea of being able to live from the heart. I think living from the heart is the most natural form. And in the West, we're trained to live from our mind. It was necessary in the beginning in in the old world where we have
Mhm.
jobs and we have all of these survival instincts. But I think we are moving to a place where it's not going to be necessary to, these skills are going to become oblivious. They're going to not be important anymore to the type of world that we're creating. And that world as well, I think, is inside of you, in your heart. And it's very easy to go there, man, to move to your heart. That's the second thing. And yeah, I don't know if you have any input on those first two things that I've said.
Dude, I have a lot of time. In fact, I agree with what you said, but a lot of the time in me, dude, I have like conflicting heart and mind, bro. Because like I'll act, and I think I act from the heart. Like you know me pretty well, dude. I act from the heart a lot. You know, like most of the time, I would say, especially when things are like, like social or like, stuff that it's not like a school thing or like stuff that I have freedom almost to make my own choices. I'll usually try to act with my heart. But then, is that good? Because like acting from the heart is natural. It feels natural. And then afterwards, my mind sometimes makes that like presents me with a different, perspective almost like, well, would that have been more beneficial to Nick?
Exactly.
Would Nick have been like in a better position now if he had
Yep.
done this? And like
See?
that's not what Nick would have done, like almost like that. Like it's so weird, bro.
Right. It gives you an illusion, a sense that there's somewhere else that you could be that's better than here.
Yeah.
That is the problem with the West that we have, that we are not enough just as we are in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, man, for sure. There's some different way to like outthink everyone and like, like outmaneuver everyone in life.
Yeah. Like if I like a lot of people say, "Oh, if only I wasn't married, or only if my husband wasn't like this, I would have such a good marriage." And it's like, what? Your
Mhm.
husband, because you have a husband is the reason you are married. The
Yeah.
thing that's causing you pain is the thing that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious, right?
It's
Like
hilarious
it's
how, yeah.
such a paradox, like we're like we get this thing and okay, personally speaking, I'm not gonna make generalizations, but like personally speaking, like I'll get a thing or I'll be experiencing a thing that I want to experience, and then I'll be like, wait, this isn't, perfect or something. Like it's like, wait, this isn't like either because of me or because of someone or because of something else, someone else, like it's not right or something. Like I'm not like perfect. I'm not like optimizing it or like taking the most advantage or like
Mm,
getting everything out of it, because that's the mindset, bro. Like if
right.
something's happening, it has to be on an upward trajectory or on any trajectory.
That's a chicken. That's the passion.
Maybe, yeah, bro. Like things have to have purpose.
At least you think they do. That's the
Yeah,
illusion. Maybe everything is already insanely perfect.
I think it is. I think it is. And I think nothing that we could do could change that, bro. You know, like
Yeah.
what the fuck do you even change?
Introducing the new Apple Vision Pro.
That's it, bro. That's what I need.
Completely transfer your reality as if you're actually in the
I can't believe
world.
I was living in this bullshit real life with no goggles in front of my face all the time. Like
For real,
what
let's
an hell,
change things
bro.
up. Let's fucking take our soul and switch it up to something else. That's interesting, bro. Our souls. What we consider our soul.
What do you consider it?
Um, maybe like a sense of identification, maybe.
Feels like
But
the soul is beyond that.
yeah,
But
I
it is
mean,
like a root of something, you know.
right. Yeah.
Like it's like the final, you know, identity.
Yes. I mean, there's the idea that we are all one, and that idea is interesting. Like let's say that this is a movie. Duncan just released a book called Going from the Movie of Me into the Movie of We. Like, come on, dude. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool name.
It's a little corny, but yeah.
It's a little corny because let's say you are sitting in a movie theater, right? There's a screen right in front of you, which is your eyes.
Hmm.
Right here's the screen. And who is sitting back there, bro? Like, is it the same person that's sitting behind it for you? Is it the same person that's watching the movie, or is it
Everybody's watching the same movie.
right? Are we all watching the same? Are we all the same witnesser? Are we all the same
Different
watcher?
protagonists or antagonists, depending on the moment.
But that seems so weird. Like having, I mean, I don't know. Like the same movie from different perspectives.
Yeah, no, I like it, bro. Yeah, like we're all in our own. Our lives are movies, bro. We're living in a movie. No, people say that now, but it's not the movie. They say that like it's some like positive thing, you know. But
Yeah.
it's a movie because there's there's some drama that we give it.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
Like we're
We,
like, this is so serious. Fuck.
yes. That's it, dude. That's it. We romanticize it into a movie.
Yeah. Or negatively, dude, like in my case, like anxiety, I have anxiety. So like that'll make it
Right.
instead of romanticizing, it'll be like catastrophizing. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like so many exams, like, oh, like I don't have time, like I'm gonna die, like or some shit, you know? Like I'm gonna
Right.
fail, I'm gonna be, so miserable, but it's still the same thing. Like it's still the same thing as whenever my life is perfect and whenever my life is going exactly like
That's so interesting, dude.
it's the duality of man, you know. And not to go back to the Bhagavad Gita, but to go back to the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about like the material world and how if we, we're identifying it with it and living in it in our own like for our own benefit or for our own, as our
Oh,
there's gonna be this constant dissatisfaction and constant struggle, bro, because that's all this is, dude.
you're right. Yeah, you know what they say? The path to hell is paved with preference.
And I haven't heard that.
You know the casual quote. Also, the other great quote, the gates of hell are locked from the inside, and you can leave whenever you want.
Oh, I get it.
You're creating your own hell by having these dramatic stories and
Yeah.
these all you gotta do is drop the story and realize that you are fine, you're in heaven, and you were just like you can leave this whole time. And I think one of the best ways to realize that you're in hell is by not avoiding the bad things. Because let's say you are in hell and you're trying to make yourself believe that you're in heaven. You're not gonna look for all the fire pits. You're gonna be looking like, oh, look, Satan has nice shoes. This could work.
Yeah, dude. You'll be in hell like, damn, bro, everybody here is fitted.
But you won't notice that you're on fire and you can't breathe.
Yeah.
And you'll be asking yourself, why the
You're just
fuck is
you'll be
everybody
like,
being an asshole? Maybe it's because you're in hell, bro. Fucking leave. The doors are unlocked. You walk in
yeah,
here yourself. And
no
here's how
one
you
else is
do
gonna
it.
make you.
If you are experiencing problems in your life and you think you might be in hell, go jump into the fire pit so you really feel the pain. And that way you can.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna be a better help ad.
I mean, here's the thing. Joe Rogan just had a guest on his podcast and they talked
Oh
about
my
how,
God, I saw that, bro.
dude, such good advice. They were like, actually having a therapist and talking about your problems might be kind of toxic. Who fucking knew? Like creating
Wait, what?
these, she said that going to
Oh,
a psychologist and talking about your problems could actually be making them more real and extending the drama of it. Like instead of realizing that you're telling yourself a story, you're continuing the story by trying to find ways to fix it and continually like, no, stop reacting to the story, stop reacting to the pain and become friends with it. That's what I'm coming to essentially. Invite your negative emotions for tea, invite them in, learn from them. So that way, whenever someone comes with that emotion, you can recognize it and you won't just react. You'll be like, "Oh, fuck you too, bro." You'll be like, I've been exactly there before, man. I've been in the fire pit of hell, and that's where you are right now. And I know you think you're in heaven, and it sucks that you're actually in hell, but I'm not going to react and put myself in hell just because you're coming in a body in an electric cage begging me to help you get out of hell. That's not my responsibility. First of all, that's not your responsibility. But sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it does feel like you have no control over your suffering. Sometimes it does feel like you're locked in.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I appreciate your perspective, and honestly, it's interesting. Like, it's very interesting the
Yeah.
whole like anti-therapy type shit. But at the same,
Anti-preference.
I know it's not like something that you like maybe believe that strongly, but it's still interesting to hear, bro, because and I think that that perspective that you have, like, invite your negative emotions for tea, I think to get there, a lot of people need to know how to find that space even to separate themselves from negative thoughts or emotions, or to realize that they're thoughts even, bro. Like people go around acting off pure emotion, bro, and letting emotion, me personally, bro, like I'll let emotions snowball,
It's
like, and I'll
natural.
let, yeah, it's too easy. Like, and then it gets to the point where you're like just desperate for someone to tell you something that's like positive about how you're feeling, or like something that's not blaming you, or something that's giving you, trying to give you space, bro. Because before you invite your negative emotions for tea, you have to separate yourself from them and first tell yourself like that you're okay, you know? And I think that's what therapy is good for, you know, because like people don't have those type of relationships, especially in modern society, in Western society. Who's caring for each other in a way that's not serving a purpose or for money, or, and I know therapy is for money, but you still build a relationship with them and they know you eventually, hopefully, if it's good therapy. But I mean, a friend, you know, a friend will give you their opinion, but who knows if it's a good one, and stuff like like coping strategies, stuff like that, bro. Like
Right.
watching YouTube videos or something. Like, how the fuck are you gonna
Yeah.
self from that?
Yeah, like it could be nice to tell people to like, hey man, like instead of reacting to your negative emotions, maybe air out the space a little bit. Um because once again, we're dealing with the actual nature of the problem, which is hate, you know. Um you're dealing with the symptoms, not the cause. The cause is hate. And as long as you have hate, you'll have the symptoms of whatever. And um I think sometimes people kind of do need a psychedelic trip to kind of force them out of this hole, or a deep
Oh, good, bro.
experience, or a good friend to, or a good therapist to really yank you out of that place if you yourself are just passed out inside of this room full of smoke, because instead of getting out of the room, you were constantly trying to fight the
Breathe it
smoke.
in.
You were like,
Yeah.
fuck the smoke. He fucking screwed me over. I gotta make sure.
Who the fuck set this fire, bro?
Yeah,
I
for
gotta figure out
real.
the cause of this fire.
There's
Like,
someone in here that I gotta kill.
yeah, I'm gonna find you. And you're just like, yeah, you're in a burning building, bro.
By the time you find them, you're out. You're gone.
And there's no one to find. It was a blown fuse or something, bro.
It was a really old record player, tape recording that someone left in a little room in your mind.
It was your
Y-
old PS3, bro, that has dust and shit.
And you've been listening to it and you believe that that's you.
And, you know,
But if you actually realize that, holy shit, actually that's not me, and I'm in a fucking huge mansion right now and I don't have to be in this room. I can
mhm,
actually even leave and open the window. It's an interesting perspective, I'm not gonna lie. It's an interesting perspective because if you start noticing those emotions, um well, you start to understand why there's war, maybe.
mhm.
You start to see other people in rooms of smoke. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, it's not really your responsibility to get them off, because a lot of people,
Yeah.
I feel like, put themselves in there on purpose, and maybe that has some karmic reasons behind it. Like, you're going to learn a lot from being in a room full of smoke,
Mhm.
but um yeah, man, it's tough being honestly a human being, you know?
It's, I mean, dude, not to be like simplifying it all, but we're,
Hmm.
I mean, searching for purpose, you know? Like, what the fuck else are we all looking for? We're all doing like it's
Dude,
purpose. Like,
that's the
it's
third.
just
Go ahead, go ahead.
it's just like everything we do is like to make us feel good, which is one purpose, or is to benefit us,
Right.
which is I guess still feeling good, or to make others proud, which is making us feel good. But it's
Yeah.
like we have to justify it with a purpose, you know?
Right, dude. That was my third thing that I wanted to say. Thank you so much for reminding me. Holy shit. That was exactly what I was gonna say. The famous metaphor of the treasure that you're looking for is in your back pocket, and you're making holes all over your garden looking for this treasure that you don't realize it's in your pocket, man. And that goes back to what we were saying, like the people saying like, if only I didn't have my kids, I could be happy. If only I didn't have this, you know?
Bitch ass ex-wife.
Exactly. If only I didn't have a bitch ass ex-wife, my marriage would be good or some shit.
Yeah, my life would be perfect.
But you don't realize that that's in your pocket, man. That's you. We are enlightened already. You just have to remember who you are, Simba.
Can't wait to hang out with you again, man.
What?
Can't wait to hang out with you again.
Oh yeah, you too, bro. You too, man.
Dude, honestly, man, do you have any questions or anything? Or like
Yeah.
topics?
Um,
I'm down to keep talking about the human condition,
you know,
but if you want to switch gears.
since we're already in this topic, why don't we talk a little bit about meditation? I kind of wanted to talk about that with you. Um, would
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about meditation, bro? Would you recommend that to other people?
Uh, I would recommend not doing anything for a little while. Like whether
Whoa!
that's meditation, like lay in your bed, bro. Like don't dissociate, but just lay there, bro, and feel the fan on you or feel your face against your blanket. Like stuff like that, I think is what I do and what can bring me peace, knowing that it's not all a race or that it's not all like one rush of emotions, like some rush of stimuli, always like just taking a moment, taking space, and that can be meditating. But I was also gonna say what you said to me recently about meditating, how I think Duncan said it and you were repeating it, that like, what are you meditating about? Like you don't have to be, but like the people that are meditating are the ones that are monks, the ones that are like on a different on a higher path, sort of, so to speak. Like they can meditate, you know, and we can try that idea.
Yeah, like kind
Because
of
because
like
people talk about meditating and then they say like, oh, I tried, or like, oh, I fell asleep. Oh, it doesn't work for me. And the ones that like it, I feel like already have that sort of disposition to like something like meditating,
right.
like they have the awareness and the ability to sit for a while. But if you don't have that, you can't just add meditating of into your routine and expect it to be like yoga or something. Like if you can't, it's not the same as yoga or like reading or something like that. Like that might be more beneficial than meditating if
Wow.
you're a very active, like hyperactive person or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, bro. And I don't know if I'm one of those people, man. I feel like I might have started meditating because my life was just. But that's, dude, I don't know. I think that your life could maybe be a school. Like when you get to the point in your life when in the matrix where you're like, oh my God, so much stimulus. I just need a break. You
Mhm.
understand everything about human nature. You're an expert in humanness right there. You could give a class on fucking anger in Harvard, bro.
That's what it is to be a human, bro.
And dude,
In this
go
society,
go to that space. If you feel like your life is in peace and everything's good and you don't feel like meditating is doing a lot of things, go create some drama. Go fucking give yourself a reason to meditate. Life is the best school, my friend. You're in a school. It's like the curriculum.
yeah, go get drunk and hit someone with your car, bro.
Yes,
Daniel has some shit to
exactly.
meditate about in jail. You just,
Exactly.
you just need the proper stimulus.
Yep. Then you won't be looking for podcasts or anything. You will just be looking for a break from life,
Yeah,
which is what the yogis do, man. That's what the best yogis
crushing
do.
the crushing guilt of killing that pregnant woman in in Daytona Beach, Florida, 2007.
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to riff, bro. I'm trying to riff. Hop on. Come on, don't leave
Exactly,
you.
bro. I mean, you can do the worst thing and it still might not be enough. You have to you have to go more. You have to keep going on top of that. Find the breaking point. Test it out yourself. That's what I would say. Because how else are you supposed to learn? Reading books? You know what the Buddha said, bro? Here's a better question. How did the Buddha get enlightenment? By reading a bunch of books and listening to a bunch of podcasts? Nah, dude, he was meditating. He was doing the practices. He was actually practicing. That's why they call it practicing because it's an action that you're supposed to be doing. You don't just read it and just go on with your world. No, you read it and then you do it. That's how you
Yeah,
gain enlightenment by doing action, by going into the world and experiencing what it means to be human, what it means to be quiet, what it means to be bored. A lot of people, when they experience boredom, they're just like, I am boredom. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's like,
Fucking me, bro. Like when
yeah,
I'm bored, it's so annoying because it's like I can never like I am the bored exactly, dude. Exactly. That's like you're the boredom and you have to do something to you or like there's like something in you that's the problem, you know? But it's like
yeah.
you're just sitting here with nothing to do and you're having negative thoughts about that. But like if you can separate yourself from the boredom, like thinking of boredom as a thought instead of a state of being, bro, for sure.
Exactly. Seeing as a bypass, as I'm sorry, as a consequence of having a nervous system, as a just like anger, as a you are
Respond.
you have boredom.
Yeah.
Wow, what the fuck? You have boredom? That's fucking
You get to
awesome.
be bored. Yeah.
What does it
In
look
this
like?
cruel world of like, like sad like nature and savageness of, like we're in a society to where we get to be in our little fancy little room with our cool things and be like, I don't know, I'm not really fucking happy right now. Like, I'm not pleased, Like, this could be, I'm missing something here, Like, that's crazy that that's even
Yeah,
an emotion. Like, our brains are too big or something, bro, because what the fuck? Like, there's no level to our desire.
you skip
Even
right through.
pretending is a desire, bro. Wanting to read the Bhagavad Gita to talk about it, like that's if we weren't doing that, we'd be bored or something, like it's another way to feed ourselves.
Yes.
Kind of switch topics a little bit. But
And you skip over the most valuable part of that sentence, which is I am. Like you just look at the boredom. Like, how about you start looking at your isness? Like, is that not fun for you? Like, is that not interesting enough for you? The fact that you even
it's a little
exist?
too interesting, bro. I think, that's the whole point of everything else.
Yeah. I mean, we have that quality to our consciousness and our identification. We have such an uncentered consciousness, which that's what you see when you're texting someone, dude. And I think that's why texting can be so hard because you're dealing with a complete fabricated version of someone. And same with like dating profiles, dude. We have we can literally just create our identity around anything, dude. There is the idea that we die and get reborn with every single breath. And each time you are choosing to identify with something different. I mean, you are different. If you look at who you were 5 minutes ago, that person is gone. At least your identification has changed, has shifted. And I think realizing that is very interesting. How we are in theory more powerful than God because God is defined. We Nick is not defined. Nick gets defined every single moment. And
Yeah.
yeah, we are having an interaction right now with this version of Nick, with this version of Eric. But each breath we take, we are completely dying and rebirthing and changing completely. And yeah, man, I think it's important what you choose to identify with.
Yeah, and I agree, man. Like every breath as a sort of death. That's a really interesting thought. And it's also crazy to think that in that sense, every breath we're identifying with our body so heavily that we're coming back to it? Like there's an opportunity there after every breath, after every exhale, to feel something different, but it's so habitual and so just like, necessary, I guess, to, have this conversation. Not necessarily this conversation, but like other conversations and this one too, or situations where you're like, all right, like I'm gonna walk into this grocery store and buy food for me because, that's what I have to do. And so then that every breath you're like food or friendship or like something like that. But then there's a disconnect because like Ramdas said or whatever, between every breath, then you see what's there. And between every word or between every action, like there's something else that
It's truth.
gets
You brush
that
up with
gets
truth.
yeah.
That's what happens with suffering, dude. I think that suffering is like one of the most purest forms of truth.
And that's how we know that we're alive.
Mm.
Like we're alive because we're suffering.
If I actually don't agree with that. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know. I might say that there
Do you
is
think
there exists suffering within the human reincarnation, but I think that if you unattach yourself to the drama, you actually can be alive without suffering. And I think that's enlightenment. I think that is being
but
in the world and not of the
like
world.
aren't aren't enlightened people sort of not alive in a way? Like they're beyond life and death, beyond birth and death. And it's a goal, it's a goal to live without suffering. I agree. And there's moments definitely that we live without suffering or that we live
Hmm.
in the material world or whatever without suffering because of good things in the how we perceive them as good. But I think the fact that there's even a need or a want to be escaped from the suffering or
I
to
see what
get
you're
away from
saying. I see
that
exactly what
means
you're saying.
you're alive. That means that you're a being, you're something that's like, I'm getting away from this. Let's go, like finally, or something like that. Or like you're trying to make it happen, even if the suffering's not that bad, or if it's like a good suffering, stuff like that.
And that's
I
exactly
think
what.
not suffered.
Wait, what?
Like all my life, like it sounds, the word suffered has this like connotation, but like all my life I've had attachments and desires and suffered or been happy because of them, but the being happy is just it's subjective.
I understand what you're saying, and this is a full circle to what we were saying before, because we're saying that the reason why we're here is because we love it so much. And why do we love it? Because our suffering it ceases to be. We love that. We love transitioning from, oh, work was ass. Work was so bad. I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna get in the hot tub. Wait. Oh, my fucking kids want some. What do you want, wife? God damn it. Okay, fine. I'm gonna get in my tub now. Ah,
Yeah, yeah,
that feeling right there, bro. That's what it's all for. I hear what you're saying.
yeah, man.
I hear what you're saying, man. But I think there's something really cool that we can do. Um, what happens? That possibility is true. What you were talking about earlier, but what about the possibility of that breath? But also the possibility of that breath being your last breath ever is also a possibility. And like, if you train yourself every day, every breath, this out breath is my last breath. Bye, guys. You are accepting death. You are, in every single moment, you are brushing up against it and remembering that at any time, there's nothing is going to change in between now and the time of your death. There's absolutely nothing that's going to happen to you besides your story that you provide for yourself. The quality of yourself is going to be the same. The quality of your breathing is going to be the same. The quality of your last out breath is going to be the same. So if you can train yourself now to breathe your last breath, then when it actually comes to rehearsal, you'll be ready. You'll be like, oh yeah, I do this all the time. I'm ready to leave. I've been leaving every single breath. I've been preparing to go. And that brings you into the present, I think. Really being okay with the way things are and being okay with dying right here, right now because it's a possibility. I'm sorry, but it's true. A fucking meteor crashed into the earth and destroyed everything. Like, be in the
Right now.
present moment, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry to run your parade, but we are living in a fucking floating rock in the middle of vast empty space. Anything can happen, bro.
All right. And we're just out here
Trying to ignore it.
look for purpose and shit, bro.
We feel special.
So crazy that we're even here.
Right. Which is why I kind of that's how that I connect n- um maybe being completely aware in the moment as a form of enlightenment because you've kind of accepted everything and um and yeah, maybe a quality of enlightenment could be being completely okay as you are right now. And maybe that means dying, dude. I don't know. I don't know if we need attachment to be on the earth. That's a great question. Low key, I don't think so. I think you can be in the world, but not of the world. That's what Ramdas would say.
I mean, that's what gurus are, right? That's what enlightenment is.
Well, Nuka Ali Baba used to actually pray for suffering. He because
Just to remember what it felt like.
yeah, he no, he needed things to be attached to the earthly plane because if not, like he needed things to keep him in this plane because he was so free that like he just could leave. He could die. He was trying to stay just to help us. That's what gurus are. They try to create suffering and attachment on the earth so that they can help other beings realize their attachment.
That's so fascinating.
Dude, it's so fascinating, honestly. Also, how they know they're gonna die is really fascinating too.
They're like, uh, uh.
Yeah, they'll do a
Like a
little
sneeze.
trick.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
awesome, man.
wait,
Dude,
wait.
T
Bye,
T
guys.
Timothy Leary knew he was gonna die. He got cancer. He took that
What?
perspective. Timothy Leary got prostate cancer and he knew he was gonna die. And that's a perspective that he took. He was like, I know where I'm gonna die. Let's have a party for my death. Fuck you guys who don't know when you're gonna die. This is a guru power. Isn't that like such a
Great.
good, yeah, right? I admire
Yeah, I
that.
got 2 weeks left to live, but at least I know.
Exactly. You could die tomorrow. You could die
Yeah,
in 20 years. The
yeah.
fear of the unknown is good luck, buddy.
I think it's the unknown is it is a good thing, but
Hmm.
I think it's always everything is unknown, and I think it's just our perceptions of it. Like even if they like 2 weeks, for example, they told them 2 weeks or whatever. Could be true,
Hmm.
or you could get hit by a fucking bus. Like there's still so much uncertainty, and so like any type of any type of knowledge is so subjective unless it's spiritual, I feel like, dude. But then I go to college at a fucking prestigious, big university where people are like it's a research, there's so much shit going on that it is science and it is academic, it's measurable, it's
It's
it's empirical.
material.
Yeah. And so that, what do we call that? What do we do with that? Everyone acts like it's important, and so it probably is. I think it is too. I'm not gonna lie. But where does where does that fall into the whole nature of existence and you know how we feel when we're alone at night? Because we're all are. Like when we're closing our eyes, are you thinking about the fucking data of your experiment? Or are you thinking about, you know, relationships, or are you thinking about your who you are, like your purpose and shit?
Right. And
I wish sort of like clearing up the air in that way.
here's a very interesting answer to your question. What do we call all of that materialism? I have an answer for you. And the newest reincarnation of Krishna, taking form in a way that us Westerners could understand.
Mm.
It's still Krishna. It's just we have become so scientifically modeled and so materialistic, which is nothing wrong with that, I guess. It's just the end goal is the same thing. It's still an avatar.
Still seeking to prove something is true, you know?
Exactly. I
It's
mean,
just
if you go to the
it's just
East,
like they're like, does the guinea pig's tail grow by an inch after injecting it from? They're still just trying to look if they can change nature, you know? And like
yep,
what's are the limits of humans, basically? That's all they're saying, asking.
it's the same questions that people in the East are asking, except they're asking it religiously.
Mhm.
It's the exact same guy, same avatar, same God. If you go to India, I mean, Ramdas did this. He went to India and he was looking to see if they had a better understanding of this materialized reality because he got some of the best LSD that has ever been created in the history. And to me, there's nothing more like material than LSD. Like if you want to experience God materially, that's how you do it. If you want to enter heaven with a with your skin on, with your body meat suit on, that's how you do it. Um, but if you go to India, where they have completely different beliefs, completely different culture, completely different life, they don't look at the material aspect of things. But it's very interesting how we arrive to the same place at the end of the day. And Ramdas did take a lot of LSD to India and gave it to a lot of really high yogis. And when he gave it to his guru, nothing happened, which is really interesting. Like to think that they're in that space all the time.
Hmm. I
But
mean, it was
yeah,
guru. It wasn't some just person on the street.
that's true. And I don't know if this is 100% true, but I'm pretty sure he did go around like at least asking people about LSD in the street and stuff. And many people recognized it, many people didn't, many people took it, many people didn't. And it
Like it was
was,
a freaking ibuprofen, brother. It's like, all right, thanks, bro. See ya.
yeah, and they were fine. And
That's a
that,
tic tac.
yeah, yeah, it's all the same, I think. But we are experiencing a brand new version of thing with technology and everything. Everything's done under the sun, my friend. I truly believe that. I don't think there's anything that can be done that is also um like outside
We can talk
of
about,
what?
dude, I gotta go pee so bad.
Oh yeah, lucky me too. I could take a break. Do you want to take a break or should we just end it here?
How long has it been going?
Dude, all I know is it's fucking 1:15.
I feel like that's a long time.
I feel like too, but we could just end it here. And
I think this has been great.
yeah, man. I think so too.
We didn't talk about anything but spirituality, but hey, what else were we really gonna talk about, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know a lot. I know it's really interesting as well to like share your college experience and your career and all of that bullshit. But I think what's clear here is that we have a desire to talk about more um things that we know people aren't talking about and things that we can share with each other. And right now, to us, I feel like that's what's most important. So I love that conversation. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, brother. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.